Hello everyone, my name is Jacinda and today I'd like you to come on a little journey with me. Today we are going to look at how much we can see about our online lives. Now, before we jump into the online world, I want to start with 2 feet on the ground in real life. And let's look at an example of when we have complete control over our information and a time where we have limited control over our information, because both of these can translate into the digital and give us a strong foundation for the rest of today's conversation. So, when would we have total control over our information? Well, there's a few cases where we do, and I want to talk about what I personally think is a really fun one, and that is when you're organising your birthday party. So, you've decided that you want to have a birthday party in your backyard with some of your friends, and your parents or your guardian have said, yes, we can have some people over, give us a guest list, and we'll help organise the invites, because you want to help write the invites too. So once you've given them the guest list, which includes friends from school, but also friends from sport, you decide to sit down and help write your friends' names and all the invites. Now, while you're writing your friends' names, your parent or guardian is writing some other information. They're putting the day of the party, the time of the party, and they're putting down the address because it's being held in your backyard and you want everyone to come and see how awesome it is, especially since your parents are getting you a bouncy castle this year. So, when you've got everything put together, all the invites are written up, they're nice and pretty, you've folded them in half perfectly and put them in envelopes, you hand them out at school and at sports to your friends that you want to come to your birthday party. So this means that only people that need to know get the invite. So it's all the friends that you want to come. But it's not everyone in your class and it's not everyone on your sports team. It's just your really close friends that you want to have over. And because you've chosen to deliver your address and the date and the time and even how old you're going to be, because some of your friends may not know that that Saturday is actually your birthday, that information, being your address and your exact age, is being handed out within your control to people that you know and trust. So, when is a time where you have information about you available to people so people can know and see, but you would have limited control? Well, actually, your school uniform is an example of this. If you are an Australian school student, there is a very high possibility that your school's policy requires you to wear a school uniform for excursions, for representing the school at sporting events, for wearing it at school every day. It's just a rule. And if you're an Australian school student, you know it, you have it from kindergarten to year 12. It's just the way things are. Now, your school uniform is actually really important, especially like when I mentioned excursions. That is how your teachers quickly identify that you are on the excursion and allows them to count everyone easier and quicker. And that way, not only does no one get lost, but you don't lose a lot of time finding people and you can focus on all the fun stuff that your excursions have planned for the day. Because excursions are always great fun, but they can be quite long and the teachers need to work on a tight time frame in an environment that you as a student, but also the teachers may not know too well because it may be somewhere they haven't been before either. So, how does your school uniform link into being information of which you've got limited control over? Well, if you're out on an excursion or even just going to and from school, you're probably wearing your school uniform in transit as well. And what happens is people in the community are going to identify what school you go to based on your school colours. Your school colours may be blue and red, they may be blue and grey, they may be yellow and green. Different schools have different colours, and if they're actually close enough to you, they'll probably be able to read the emblem and confirm that yes, you definitely go to that school. Because there's only so many schools within the communities, and there's only so many colour combinations. So from a distance, someone can identify what school you go to, and depending on what year you're in, they can guess how old you are. So for example, if you're in a year 6 shirt, they can guess that you're 11 or 12 because you're wearing a year 6 shirt, and that's how old year 6 students are. Or they might not be able to tell. You may have a more generic school uniform from year 1 up to year 5. So you could be anywhere from 6 to 11 and they can't pick it up. But it is one way to indicate how old you are. And because you need to wear your school uniform when you're representing your school, and you're most likely wearing it to and from school, that is an instance where you do have limited control, because it's not precise information, but it gives people an indication of information about you. So I'd like to bring a few examples similar to what we've just discussed in the real life, but into the digital world. So when we did your party, we were talking more about where you live, which is also where you're from. So how do we bring that into the digital world? Well, again, I'm hoping to use another really fun example. I really hope you like playing roadblocks and you think that roadblocks are fun. Now, did you know with roadblocks you join on something that's called a public server? And a public server is a server that anyone in the world can join and play with. So you'll be able to play with some of your friends, but there'll also be a lot of people that you don't know also playing there. And if you have voice chat request on and you choose to speak to someone, your prominent Australian accent will give away where you are from, because a lot of people know and love an Australian accent. And the same would happen if you're hearing someone who's from the UK or from Sweden or another part of the world, because our voice is very distinct. Another example, again, I want to go back to the school uniform, because we can also translate identifying you and your school using the uniform. So how do we do this? Well, let's say that you're in a soccer team and you have played relentlessly and really hard, and you've got a good team and you've made it all the way to the state finals. You've done really well, really exceptionally. Your parents want to celebrate it, your guardians want to celebrate it, and the school wants to celebrate it as well, because it's awesome to make it to the finals. So if your parent or guardian has signed the appropriate consent forms during the game, before the game and after the game, your school and your teachers will be taking photos of you and your team. And they will likely want to put those up on the website and on the social media platforms they use to communicate with the wider community, to celebrate and show off how well you guys have done. And that is how your school uniform, a piece of clothing that you wear, can identify you digitally. So you're hearing me talk a lot about identifying information in real life, but also digitally. But I'm hoping I'm not boring you, but I really want to talk about why this is important. Why are we having this conversation? Maybe your parents have had this conversation with you. Maybe your guardians had it with you. Maybe you're just sitting here going, just tell me the answer. Why are we talking about this? Well, unfortunately, the reason we're talking about this is there are some baddies in the world, and there are baddies in the digital world too. And these baddies want your data, and they want it for different reasons. Firstly, they might just be jealous of your awesome Roadblocks profile, the profile that you spent months and years building up. They may be jealous and want it for themselves, so they want to take it from you instead of building up their own profile. Or maybe someone wants to learn more about you, and this is actually something that can be really concerning and pretty scary. So, I've unfortunately touched on some slightly scary and unhappy reasons that we're talking about this. So you're probably wondering right this split second, what can we see about my digital life right now? Was I right? Was I wrong? Or were you thinking about a cheeseburger instead? Well, going back to talking about what we can see digitally, let's have a think about where our presence online is. What games do you play? We've mentioned Roblox as an example. So if you play Roblox, that's an example. And maybe you're old enough to start using a social media platform like TikTok. Now, once you've got that list of all the different games and all the different platforms that you use, you can start having a look at what information could possibly be there. So what could people possibly see? So for example, did you know TikTok takes your voice and your face to remember you? This information is called biometric data, and it is definitely part of what we call PII data, and in fact more uniquely identifiable, because unless you've got an identical twin with the exact same voice as you, there is no other way it could be anyone else but you. So they know exactly who you are. So I've told you about a few things that TikTok has with the biometric data, but how do we know that and where can we find that? Well, there's a few ways that we can have a look at what we can see about us online right now and right after this. And in order to do some of these things, you may need a parent, a guardian, or a friend with another account to help you. So firstly, we spoke about that extra data that TikTok has. That information can be found in what's called the settings tab, and it's got a little cog icon, and you can click into that and there's lots and lots of boring words in there. But one area that's really important is the area that shows you not only what type of data they take, but why they take that data as well, as different places has different reasons. So you can look at that and make a determination as to whether you're happy with the fact that TikTok wants your voice or that TikTok wants to keep copies of your face. And you may decide to change your online behavior accordingly. Another thing you can do, and again, this is something that your parent or guardian may have already mentioned, or maybe some of your friends do it as well, is not to use your real first and last name or date of birth as a username. This type of information does quickly and easily identify people. And this is why a lot of people choose nicknames or variations on their names, or don't include their surname instead. So that is another thing that you can do while you're looking at what can be found about you, because if people have got your first and last name, they can do a Google search and find a lot more things. But if they don't know your username's got an extra 3 Y's at the end or an extra Z, it may be a bit trickier. Another thing that you can do, and this is something where you'll need a parent, a guardian, or a friend, is to sit next to them and look at your account and get them to look at your account if they're your friend, and you can have a look on that platform and see what the difference is between what you can see about your profile and what they can see about your profile as a friend. And then you can get them to log out, and you can again have a look again. What can someone that isn't friends with you see? Is it really locked down and private? Are there a couple of photos that can be seen? What are they able to look at as someone that isn't a friend and someone that is a friend? And are there some things that you have that you only want you to see? That is another thing that we can do as a quick check to see what we can see about us online. So, before we finish this little journey, I want you to come on a little surprise birthday party organisation with me. I know we mentioned it for your party this year, but I've also got a friend called Chip the Cookie, and it's his birthday next Sunday, but we're having the party Saturday, and we have friends from all over the country that are going to join. So I have to communicate with some of these people digitally. I can't go and find them after school or at the library. I need to use online platforms to communicate with them. And even though Chip the Cookie is someone that I know and trust, I don't want him to see anything about his party till afterwards, because otherwise it's not a surprise party. So, what are some things that we can do? I'll give you a few moments to think about it, and then I'm going to give you a little list of things that we can do as well. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds. So we'll count down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1.5, 1. Okay, so while I was counting to 10, I did think of the list that we need. We need a cake, we need balloons. I think we can do another bouncy castle, but of course we do need to let friends know. So I have decided we are going to create a group chat. Did you think of a group chat? And in this group chat are the people that I would like to invite to Chip the Cookie's birthday. And do you know what the first message is in that group chat? Hello everyone, this is Jacinda and I'm helping organise Chip the Cookie's birthday party. Now, this is a surprise birthday party, so please ensure that you do not talk about this near Chip the Cookie or near some of his friends, because some of his friends like to gossip and we want this to be a surprise party for him. So everyone in the group message immediately knows that this is something that they need to keep from someone that they know and they trust for the sake of the surprise party. The other thing I did is I changed the group name. So when you create groups, instead of having lots of different people's names or even calling it Chip's Party, I decided to call it something a bit boring. I called it Grandma Jane. So if Chip or one of our other friends has Chip looking over his shoulder and Chip reads Grandma Jane, he's going to think it's someone talking to their grandma. He's not going to know that it's someone planning his surprise party. Now, another thing we can do, and you may have thought of this if you've already learned how to become a cyber chef today, but you can communicate with some of your friends using a code. And a code that only you and the people attending the party understand. So Chip will just think it's gibberish and not know what's going on and may just leave it alone. The other thing that I did, because some of our friends like to take lots of photos, is I've asked them, in addition to not saying anything in person, not to post anything online or share anything public about the fact that we're organising Chip's surprise birthday party. So, those are a few things that we can do digitally that restrict someone, even though it's someone we know and trust, from seeing what we do for, in this case, it's only a short period of time. It's till his birthday. But you may want to do some of this long term. So, did you think of some of these things? Do you like some of these ideas? Would you help organise a friend's surprise party using some of these techniques? Whether you're organising a party or you just simply aren't comfortable after this conversation, because we've spoken about a lot of information which could be online and you may not like that. This is something we always need to consider, because what we do online does have an impact on us today, tomorrow, and for the rest of our lives. So, as always, stay safe online, and if you're ever unsure or concerned, go talk to a trusted adult, because they'll be able to help you. Thank you so much for coming on this little adventure with me. I hope you learnt a lot, and I'll keep you updated on Chip's surprise birthday party. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I hope you're having a lot of fun with the cyber games.